Right on.
Let's talking about food.
Oh, I love fucking
But
food.
good food, healthy food, no fast food.
No fast food. Slow food.
Thanks a lot to be here. How you manage your food on the catering, your rest, all the temptations?
For me, it's just a matter of time management. Which what I mean by that is you have to know when to drink and when to sleep and when to eat and what to drink and what not to eat and what not to drink and when not to do it all. And I try to consume a lot of water, try and get a lot of sleep, and I try to usually getting a meal if I could just eat something. Sometimes on the road you don't have the luxury of eating exactly what you want, so you got to kind of just choose your battles.
Have you got a favorite dish?
I'm a huge fan of pork. Pork. So especially pork shoulder. Slow roasted, low and slow. That's probably my favorite dish. Is a really slow roasted pork shoulder, about 6.5 pounds, bone in, for about 5.5, 6 hours. That's my favorite dish. I probably shouldn't eat as much as I do, but I'm a foodie, and every chance I get, I try to do somewhat a little bit of research into some of the towns and cities that I go into, and stop off at a very unique place that's indigenous to each city and each country. Take for instance being up in Scandinavia, and maybe being 100 miles from the Russian border and trying bear, and trying Russian food like sour cream and pickles and bear and stuff like that. So every chance I get, I try to do some research and try to hit some of the places. I don't watch a whole hell of a lot of TV, but when I do, my wife can testify it. It's usually the Cooking Channel or the Food Network. So I'm a huge fan of that, and I probably got to cut back a little bit, and my old age. I was more fit in my younger days, and as you get older, you do have to watch what you eat. So instead of eating, bacon and eggs every morning, you might have to have, something, a piece of wheat toast or some fresh fruit or something like that. So my wife pushes me in that direction, but I still, crave those, bacon and eggs every once in a while. So it's tough, but being on the road, like Brent says, sometimes the food selections aren't so good, and you try to make the right decision, but sometimes you have no choice but to, eat fast food, but it is what it is now. Yeah.
For me personally, I stay away from wine because wine makes me tired, and I like to after the show. There's pre-show drinking and then there's post-show drinking, and for me, pre-show drinking might consist of a couple beers or maybe a Jack and Coke or something like that, just something to kind of cut the edge. Excuse me. And then after the gig, I might sip on some whiskey. Or, yeah, just kind of relax. No, maybe a couple beers before the gig. Yeah. No wine, though. I stay away from wine, yeah. Wine it makes me a little tired, I always see wine as something to go along with a nice meal where I could take my time and really enjoy the glass of wine. But if I'm just kind of, just kind of waiting to perform. I like, I'm a beer drinker. I like to have a couple beers, yeah.
I don't like to eat too much before a show because it takes away your energy a little bit. there's to be enough time in between. We usually eat after the show. Well, I like to eat after the show.
That's great. Yeah, that's awesome. Good stuff. You know, it's food to me. It used to be boring. When I was a kid growing up, I thought eating was a waste of time. And then as I got older, my palate became a little bit more sensitive, and I started really sit down and enjoying meals. And that's what, like a country like France, when you go in to a restaurant, it's an experience. You sit there. It's not hurry, eat and then get the fuck out. Pardon my language. Like something in the States. In the States, people order. They want service. They want it now. You get it quick, and it's service, out, and in comes the next. Now there's some great restaurants where we're from, like a restaurant that Brent turned me on to. I knew it was there. I never was there, but it's a restaurant called La Valerise in Palm Springs. Excellent cuisine. It's kind of like it's French. It's French American, but it's fused with some other almost like they had a raw tuna tartare with cilantro and cucumbers, and the sauce that was served in a martini glass. It was delicious. And then for the other appetizers, they have a crispy scallop that's delicious. But the scallops, I believe that they're diver scallops, which is different than just the regular farm ones. And the diver scallops, they're so tender and they're so moist and they so melt in your mouth, but it has a crispy shell over it. It's almost like a panko breadcrumb that's on it, but it's very delicious. Something like that. We were talking about it. My wife had the filet mignon, which is absolutely delicious, and then I had the crispy duck, which is phenomenal. But here, it's an experience. You sit down in a restaurant and you can spend hours eating and just relaxing and drinking wine or martinis or whatever. And in the States, it's a little bit more quick. So I'm starting to enjoy my meals a lot more, as you can see, you know. So it's fun. I always look forward to leaving the kids at home and going out with my wife and actually enjoying meals, sitting down and trying new things. I've never had bear before, and last tour I had bear, and in Spain, the seafood there is phenomenal. I wanted to try something very, very that was from the Basque Country, and they brought out these sardines, these big, huge sardines that they're sautéed in these baby onions and garlic and olive oil. And so I took it and I started eating it like crazy. And the guy goes, don't eat it like that. He goes, you pick it up and you very gingerly, pick the meat off the bone, and it was a great experience. And we just got back from Australia, and the seafood there was phenomenal. You talk about somewhere like the Gold Coast or Byron Bay or Surfer's Paradise on the east coast of Australia, and they have these big shrimp boats that go out. They catch a bunch of, obviously, fresh shrimp, big, huge tiger prawns, and as soon as they get these tiger prawns live, they throw them in a boiling vat of seawater. Boiling vat, so they're fresh. So the boat comes in, you stand in line, and you get these fresh shrimp. Right off, you get a couple kilos of them, and you just, crack the head, devein them, and just, peel them off. Delicious. But that type of fresh seafood, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you. I am hungry now. Thanks a lot for talking about food on heavy metal food. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, guys.